It's 7:40. Let's do this. Good evening, Hampton Roads. Good evening, Northeast North Carolina. My name is David Aldrich, Chief Meteorologist of WTKR News 3 Television, and you are watching First Warning Live. First Warning Live, and we're talking about Tropical Storm Erin, sponsored by Marco's Pizza, where we're trying to give away some free pizza. I'd like to give some to you. Stay with us. I'll let you know how to do that. But we got to talk about the weather, because what's most important right now is, where is this thing? Where is Erin? We give it a name. We got to have some idea where she is. So let's show you. We'll show you. We've got one little spot out here. X marks the spot. 10% chance from according to the Hurricane Center. This actually gets a name. And now we have a 0, and actually it looks like a new actual spot is beginning to form just off the coast of Mexico. So we've got some areas, but Erin is way out here. Last check was about 1,600 miles east of the northern Leeward Islands, so like 1,655 to be precise, but that's where Erin is. And if we could zoom in a little bit tighter from the enhanced satellite, you could see that this storm is beginning to grow. It's not a monster storm, it's just a 45-mile-an-hour tropical storm, but it will likely grow into a major hurricane by this weekend. So that's something to take note of. This will get much stronger. I like to use the expression like a figure skater. You know, one that does the spinning, and they pull their arms in, they get tight. It's going to wind up. And so this storm is likely to get much stronger and become more likely a Category 3 hurricane by Saturday night into Sunday, based on the track that the Hurricane Center has placed on us. But again, where it is now is not where it's going to be tomorrow. It's going to keep moving. It's moving at west at 22 miles an hour. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, well, where are you getting that from? Where's that coming from? Well, that's basically what we're seeing at the top of the data. There's number one, right? I'll change this back onto my telestrator. You can see it's moving west at 22, but it does have gusts of 60. But it is clear to anyone looking at this is, well, Category 3, if that is in fact a major hurricane, winds of 115, you need winds of about 111 to become a major. There's some concern that maybe it's going to come close to Puerto Rico, but most models would suggest it's going to pass to the north. But maybe it's a Bermuda concern. Bermuda may actually have a bigger concern from this storm, the way things are shaping up today, because there, as I've mentioned, there are as many spaghetti plots, spaghetti models, as there are breakfast cereals at a grocery store. And that seems kind of mundane. Why do you have so many? Well, typically this is one of the many tools. I know that the Hurricane Center will often draw a cone. And if their cone could look something like this, where it's like, hey, it's going to be somewhere in this cone on day 5 or 6 or 7. So it's way out there, but you can clearly see that the bulk of the modeling wants to push it north, which is why it would put a greater burden on the island of Bermuda. That's not to say it couldn't move. It's still too early to say. I'm not going to make any conjectures, but some people like to look at everything from sea surface temperatures to Sahara dust, because the dust reflects sunlight and the dry air will limit thunderstorms. So it doesn't look like dust is going to have much of a role here. It's pretty faint, but it is across the Atlantic. That's common. One of the models other than what we just showed you would be the European forecast takes it pretty close to Bermuda. Now, you might be saying, where's Bermuda? It's this little dot. You see that little dot there? That is Bermuda. So it's a beautiful island. I've been there a couple of times in my life via a cruise and maybe a trip there of our own. But I'll tell you what, this is a storm that's likely to curve. So if this is the Euro today, compare it to one of the American models, the GFS from this morning, this was 12Z or 8 o'clock this morning, look at Bermuda. Look at Bermuda. That looks like it rolls right over Bermuda. And again, this is a dramatic change from yesterday, which is why I like to say it's too early to tell. You say it's too early to make these predictions. You say, oh, well, it could if it changed that much yesterday, how much could it change tomorrow? That's why we have to wait. There's some anticipation that this will make a northerly track eventually, but how close does it get to the coast? Will it ever be too close for comfort? Will it be a bigger concern for the island of Bermuda? We'll have to wait and see. But back to the maps, again, this is the 12Z run. 6 hours later, the same model puts it even further east of Bermuda, if I'm not mistaken. This one's actually east of Bermuda. There it goes, went right by it. So if this is the island of Bermuda, this one kind of moved up here. So it's just depending on which of these models, which is basically taking the equations of motion, they're all putting out a different output, and it's going to change. I think many of us, even in the weather community, we'd be more interested to see the modeling 2 days from now than see today, because things will change. Have you ever seen a pinball in the pinball machine? Bing, 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 it can move, right? So depending on multiple factors, it's not just Erin's movement, but what's coming down from Canada, a series of fronts, so that we could see some of this actually begin to change. So I want to just kind of put this out there. We do have Erin on the map. We have the possibility of Ferdinand, Gabrielle, Umberto as the next 3 names on the list, because the hurricane season really, in the big scheme of things, is just starting. I mean, you can clearly see the frequency of tropical storms in yellow and the frequency of hurricanes in orange tend to spike. Even the major hurricanes typically occur down here, which is in September. So we still have a lot of time left. Labor Day is usually a very active time. If you have some comments, let me know. I do want to say hi to you because I know some of you have left some comments. I do see, who was it? Marilyn Bell said to me yesterday, yes, let me fly in here. She said, oh, great forecasting. That was from last night. There was a note from Becky. I didn't get a chance to answer Becky's question. She says, we're planning on going to Ocracoke this weekend. We've already booked a hotel. We're leaving Sunday. Could this be an issue for us? Right now, it's wait and see, but I would suspect that you're probably okay. I mean, based on today's guidance, because nobody here is clairvoyant, but I can tell you based on the guidance, it does look like it's going to move north. The question is when and how close, because rip currents can ruin a vacation too. If I'm not mistaken, if you get the red flags, they say get out of the water, you don't want to spend all that money on a hotel or a rental property and feel like you didn't really get your money's worth. Does that make sense? I hope so. You know what's also making sense? My sponsor. We are actually excited about giving away free pizza for a year, as we've been doing since late May when we started this experiment called First Warning Live. We want to give it to you. All you have to do, it's real simple, all you have to do is go to our website, WTKR.com/Marcos. You can see there are 3 Virginia Beach locations with their 757 area codes. Chesapeake, Kempsville Road, 1 in Norfolk at Hampton Boulevard. These are the 5, and soon to be 6, because that opens up, I believe, next month. Soon to be 6. But these 5 are the locations you can redeem the free pizza. And what that looks like, we're giving away, they are giving away 50% off now. You don't even have to win. I find this is awesome. This is one of the more popular promo codes that have been issued for the deal of the week. So if you're hungry right now and you go to marcos.com, you can sign up, and whatever you order, whether it be a 2-liter Pepsi, whether it be a large pizza, some wings, subs, Cinesquares, whatever you're, cheesy bread, you'll get 50% off your order. That's a pretty sweet deal, and that's why it's probably very popular with our First Warning Weather watchers. Now, the certificate looks like this. We'll be announcing the winner on Thursday. I can't wait. I love Thursdays for that reason, but we are now in August, so it acts like a punch card. So you get a punch card, say, okay, you've had 1 large, 1 topping, pizza monthly for the next year for free. So you get to this. This is why I think it's just fantastic. For those who win, it saves a little bit on the monthly or weekly pizza budget, right? You get to save some money at least 1 week of the month. Is free. Now, if you're hungry for Pozole, you get that half off. If you want a pepperoni magnifico, that's half off. But I do want to thank our sponsor, Marcos, for joining us and allowing us to give you comfort food while you look at some more weather. Can we talk about weather? Yes, let's get back to weather, because I didn't want you to forget. We are still at the beginning, the doorstep of a very interesting hurricane season. Virginia Beach oceanfront, boy, did people run for cover today. I saw it on the webcam. I saw it on the tower cam. There was a lot of people out there, but when the rain came to the oceanfront, it really made people run. And we had about 2 inches or more. I'll show you that, at least the amounts here in a moment. Also, I wanted to give you a heads up. 'Tis the season for pollen, because we're now on the doorstep of ragweed. I mentioned this before. Some of you who have allergies or sensitivities to pollen, you might have really a bad go of it in spring when the trees bloom. But then you get maybe some grass issues, grass pollen. If you mow the lawn, you're like, I can't do that. May 15th to June 30th, usually a prime time where grass pollen's an issue. I mean, these are not absolute times, but it's the third wheel here. Mold can happen anytime it's very wet, but again, weeds late summer into fall. And so if you're not feeling 100%, this could be why. Check with your physician, your doctor. But I can tell you this, ragweed is in fact rising, and it's going to be an issue with some of you. Now, if you're hanging out by the ocean front and you are breathing in the salt air, saltwater air, you may not have an issue. But if you're inland, you might say, I'm having a really hard time. All right, let me go back to the temperatures. This is the other big story. This is something that you're not going to see just about anywhere. High temperature, I get that everywhere. What I'm going to show you, because I did some homework here, because that's what I do. 87, this was the warmest day in Norfolk for the whole month of August. And if you look, every month, every day in the month, 12 of them have been below normal. Now, if you ask yourself, well, Isn't August supposed to be a hot month? It is, typically. We average about 9 days at 90 or higher. But we've had 0, and we have a good chance that we could maybe come to maybe 9-0 on Thursday. So I just kind of wanted to check. Oh, and there's this. The Climate Prediction Center, let me take this full. They're expecting the 20th of August through the 26th of August to be below normal. Well, isn't that funny? David, you were talking about the 19th or 20th of August getting cool again, like last week. I know, and this just came out today. So could it be, might it be, possible that a front comes down from Canada and maybe helps, directly helps steer Erin out of here? It's like, push that one back up, because most of the models don't even have Erin hitting Nova Scotia. It takes a hard right and it goes northeast. It goes, it races out of here. It's all about timing. But either way, the Climate Prediction Center thinks we're going to be kind of cool through the 26th of August. Why is that important? Because I wanted to find out what's the least number of 90-degree days in August, Norfolk. Since 1874, we're talking about 151 years of data. We had one time, we had 0, and it was in August of 1927. You ready for this? This was back when Calvin Coolidge was in the White House. Boy, you really are good with context. I am. I try to be. So when we're looking at this number, right, we come back to this. 0 days in August, 1927. We had no 90s in Norfolk, and that was 98 years ago. Now we've had 7 days, or 7 years, where we had 1 day at 90. We averaged 9. So the last time was 2014. So it wasn't that long ago. It's not unheard of. Has it ever happened before? A 0 is only one time. 1927. We never hit 90 or higher in Norfolk. I find that interesting. If you like these kind of stats, this is what I do. I like to look at the research. But we have had 1 day at 90 in 1889, 1904, 1910, 1919, 1922, 1996, and 2014. So it has happened. And maybe we're going to be in that 7-year club. It'll become 8 years if we have to add 2025 to the list. We had plenty of 90s last month. You all know this. We had plenty of 90-degree days. We had, in fact, 12, but it was so humid, it felt like it was more than 12. All right, the big story today, I talked about Virginia Beach, 2.16. That's an amazing measurement. That's what caused a lot of people at the oceanfront to run for cover. And I do want to check in some comments with you, because I have been going on long enough about, Erin, I wanted to get that off the table so people could understand where that storm may likely be going here. Now, I want to check in with you. If you've got a comment, leave me a note. I see Kim Thompson-Jones says looking forward to the 20th and the rest of that week. So I think I made her happy. I think she's pleased, at least to the coolness of it anyway, pleased to find that maybe she's going to get some cool weather going to the end of August. Because people, if you're only looking at the next 7 days, it's beyond that. I think it's still kind of cool, and that might actually make people happy, make people sad, but it is what it is. I mean, if you're going to Ocracoke, you want it nice and warm. It's not going to necessarily be like autumn or autumnal weather, but it certainly is going to be cooler than average. That seems to be the trend, and that's where I believe that's where Kim was. Yeah, there she is. I just want to fly in here and say hi to you. She says, looking forward to the 20th and the rest of the week. So, yeah, we'll see how this plays out. Also, Jessica Lynn is on here. She wants to say hi. Hi there. First Morning Live. Glad to see Jessica. And we can always highlight your comment if you're new to our platform. I'll do my best to magnify your voice. If you've got a question, I'll do my best to answer it. It is now 7:54. I got to keep moving, and I need to clear my telestrator. All right, so let's go back. Did I mention we had a lot of rain in Virginia Beach? Now, there were no flash flood warnings today. No flash flood warnings in North Carolina either. That doesn't mean you didn't get a lot of rain. It looks like you did. Windsor had about 1 inch. Some areas south of Windsor in purple or red might have had 2 inches. But about 0.66 officially in Currituck, and just 0.03 officially in Edenton. So it just depends on where you are. Norfolk has had 0.14. Let me go back, because what's interesting, I think we can Doppler estimate. This is the radar now. Most of the rain seems like it's moving out of the picture. It looks like a couple of showers in Gloucester County might be drifting in the direction of Middlesex or Matthews County. But if we go back one step here, there it is. That's the 2.1. It was near the oceanfront. It was near Croatan, and about 1.5, maybe a lot less in Princess Anne, but a little more than 1 inch in many areas. Stumpy Lake had about 1 inch, and Norfolk about maybe 1/2 inch in some spots. So it just depends on where you are. But most of this rain is now moving on out. It's not coincidental that it's usually associated with the heating of the day. So it's kind of like when you have a ceiling fan, I've mentioned this before, on a switch. You turn the switch off, you turn the sun goes down, you lose the heat source, and it just slowly winds down. And that's what we're seeing here, right? These showers are slowing down. Now, I know there's a Perseid meteor shower tonight. It peaks. It's several nights, but tonight's an opportunity. But you're going to have to fight three things. Partly to mostly cloudy skies. So you've got cloud pollution. You got light pollution with the nearly full moon that was full on August the 9th. So even if you can get away from city lights, which is tough, in this part, maybe you can if you're in the Outer Banks, maybe you can count a few of those shooting stars, anywhere from 50, 60 to as many as 100 per hour is the estimation. And usually it's best to be seen before dawn, but I'd say 1 to 3 a.m. is a good time to watch it because you could may be able to catch a few of those shooting stars. But a lot of kids got to go back to school, so maybe that's a non-starter right out the gate. But I do see a lot of clouds still in place. It is now 7:56. We are looking at showers around Hatteras, around Ocracoke. It's been raining there today. Kill Devil Hills, Virginia Beach. Looks a little drier up towards Chincoteague, and we have humid air coming in from the south and west. So that front and a series of fronts may actually help steer down the road, may steer Miss Erin out to sea. Current conditions, got more clouds in Franklin, the METARs. We've got mostly cloudy in Virginia Beach, maybe a little more sunshine in Kitty Hawk. But these are the numbers I find interesting. The airport, only 0.48 for this month. That's because so far, we've only measured 0.14 officially for today. So today was the first drop of rain of the week at the airport. So 5.88 is typical for August. It is typically the second soggiest month of the year. Temperature change right now is pretty flat. Zeros, -1, +3 in Gloucester, but we're in the upper 70s in Hampton, 79 in Chesapeake, 75 in Manio, and our current reading is 80 in Newport News and 77 in Moyock. Just checking in comments. Wanted to say hi to you. If you have something you'd like to share, let me know. I'll do my best to put it on there. Elizabeth says hi. Well, I say hi to her. Elizabeth, she left a hi to me yesterday, so I'd like to see you back. If you have any concerns about Erin or maybe this weekend, the weekend's going to be great. But if you have a question, I'll do my best to magnify your voice. So she says hi here, and there's Elizabeth. So glad to have you here watching live. Because not everybody watches it live. They watch it sometimes on delay. But I'm glad to have you on board watching. Now, as we looked at the temperature, yeah, it's kind of sticky. And tomorrow is going to be no different. Because tomorrow is, in fact, Wednesday. The winds are going to be about 5 to 15, that I expect, and more likely could be gusting closer to 20. But with a low tide at 5:41, this time is a very important time if you're trying to avoid rip currents, because rip currents tend to intensify or get enhanced around the time of low tide, maybe like an hour before, an hour after, but this is at 5:41 tomorrow, and the surf height is about 1 to 3 feet. So we're anticipating, well, water temperature in the upper 70s now, but with the southwest wind, the rip current risk should be a little bit lower than it was the last couple of days. More rain opportunities for tomorrow. Showers and storms when it rains, it pours, warming up, highs reaching now around 90. We'll be lucky to get there on Thursday, and Tropical Storm Erin, which we've covered, is continuing to move west. By the way, if you're in the military and you are homesick, I like to show this map to give you a bird's eye view of what's going on around the country. I'm looking for some of these little orange polygons. Not a whole lot to see for severe weather. Got to go near Kalamazoo, where there is, in fact, severe thunderstorm warning for Calhoun County until 8 o'clock. I would imagine that is Central Time, but they've got hail size a little less than 3/4 of an inch, and it looks like 6,200 people affected by that storm. It's raining in parts of the Appalachians, mountains. You can see the Smoky Mountains getting some showers back where I spent some time. Oak Ridge and Knoxville's had some rain. Athens down toward I-75, down toward Chattanooga, where it looks like they've got some flooding concerns now. Yes, quite a few in Hamilton, Bradley counties, until 8:30 and even 10:45 tonight. So there's some considerable flooding going on in Chattanooga and that area this evening. As we slide back closer to North Carolina, we got some showers around Wilmington. A lot of the rain that was around Hatteras and Ocracoke is beginning to wind down. Let's zoom in a little bit toward Ocracoke. There you are. So you've had some rain today, but things are improving, it looks like, in terms of the rain, as things are drying out. And the sun did go down at 7:59 tonight. So it went down about a minute ago, or on its way at this moment. So let me keep going. Our lows this morning, if you were curious, were sticky. 72 in Norfolk, 72 in Virginia Beach. It was 73 this morning in Williamsburg. Wakefield got up to 88 today. And Suffolk, they were not reporting for a while, but they got their weather gear back online. They hit 90 today, so Suffolk, way to represent the 90s. Most of us, like Manio, only 82. Wallops Island 85, and as I mentioned, it was 87 in Norfolk, a little bit cooler in Virginia Beach by 1 degree. If you're on the call, please let me say hi to you. I see a note from Taj. He wants to say, he says, happy Taco and Tuesday. You know what's amazing? You know, people will eat tacos maybe on other days too. I'm like the same way with Marco's Pizza. I like to eat it on a weekend, but you might find me in one of the stores during the week too, because especially Taj, when you can enjoy, as I've noticed, the 50% off. You don't have to spend the full price. Somebody said, do I get half a pizza? No, you get the whole pizza, but you get it for half off, and all you have to do is go to marcos.com and use the promo code WTKR50. Just put in the number WTKR, that's our call letters, and the 50, and suddenly your bill will be cut in half. How cool is that? And that's a First Warning Live special. It's the deal of the week. We also are trying to give you away free pizza. All you have to do is go to our webpage. It takes about a minute, no more than 2, to put in your name and address so we know where to send the certificate. Well, what am I talking about? I'm talking about this certificate over here is ready to be mailed. We're going to be announcing that winner on Thursday evening. All right, back to the weather. 90 today in Suffolk, 87 in Norfolk. We have now seen, and I mentioned there was nine days. That's typical. I mean, the fact that we've had 0, and we could make this, maybe we get 1. Maybe we get 1 or 0. Well, it could be an interesting year. Out of 151 years, we typically see about 36 days at 90. If you're playing the home game version, we've had 27 days in 2025. That's because we had 12 in June, we had 12 in July, very humid days too, and 1 in April and 2 in May. So that's where we stand. And with the way things are going on that cooler trend, it may be hard to get even close to 1 or 2. We'll have to wait and see. Temperatures 80 in Carrollton right now, and in Gloucester, 77 Currituck and Virginia Beach. And if you're wondering what's going on, it's the humidity that everybody's noticing. It doesn't feel that great. It's very oppressive, very sticky, and the dew point changes to +1, +3. It's even more humid now than it was in some cases where it was this time last night. So many of us had dew points pretty close to 75 during the course of today, and I suspect they're going to stay around 75 the next 2 days. So if you're not a fan of the sticky weather, if you're not a fan of the humid weather, you're not going to like the next 5 days. No, maybe it comes down a little bit for the weekend, but we'll just kind of excuse it and say, okay, well, it's the weekend and it's dry. I'll take those Saturday and Sunday days in summer anytime, because it's, again, not going to be that hot. It'll be generally in the mid-80s. All right, dew point temperatures obviously have come down a little bit in some areas. Maybe not that far, but Pittsburgh is roughly 11 degrees less humid than we are. I'm seeing some cooler colors up here in the upstate New York area where they've been in the 50s and 40s the last 2 days, but that's where the dew points are there. Our temperatures, where it's been raining in Knoxville, down to 79. It's 77 in Virginia Beach. But they're a lot warmer right now ahead of a front, Columbus and Pittsburgh, both at 88 degrees. Just checking in with comments as we continue down the path here. Here are the national temperatures as of 8 o'clock Eastern time. We've got, 110 in Phoenix? Actually, Vegas is a degree hotter than Phoenix. That's pretty remarkable. It's 92 in Little Rock, but this is the cool air in green that's trying to surge down here. So that's why I say there's going to be some opportunities, as I mentioned a couple of days ago, even last week. I said we'd have a chance by the time we get the 19th and 20th to see another cool spell. And maybe it's something that you hope for. Maybe you're like, I don't feel like I got enough summer. I know how some people have a preference, and it's kind of like how you have a preference on setting the thermostat. I'm just the messenger. That's all all I can say about the control of this is not in my hands. By the way, I got a note from Marilyn. She says hello. Marilyn says hi. She says, hoping everyone had a great day. She said we had rain here all day in East Tennessee. So if some of that rain came to your neighborhood, we felt like we had it at Virginia Beach with over 2 inches. So we're right there with you, Marilyn. Maybe some drier days are in your future. I'm sure you could always find ways you could go to other places around the country to get some relief. But I want to show you this 10-day outlook. It is now 8:05. This is the cool air I was talking about. This is the cool air I was saying that we're going to have a chance to tap into. See these cool colors? Look how cool. I mean, that's almost like autumnal across Quebec, moving into Maine. And this is why the Climate Prediction Center made that call to say that, hey, the 20th through the 26th is going to be cool. I think it's going to be very cool. So when you're below normal, and the other fact that you're not thinking is that the days are getting shorter, so that it's harder to get to 90. And the fact you've got a cool shot coming in from Canada, That's why I said you're running out of August days to make up for getting an average of 9. I don't even think we're going to get 4.5 or even 5 in this rate because we're just going to be like this, maybe going into the end of the month. There could be some hot days, maybe by the 30th or 31st, but right now there's just not a lot of evidence to suggest we're going to be warming up. It's going to be doing the opposite. Now, as far as our temperature trend, it's going to go up to about 90 Thursday, and again, that's optimistic. If we get some storms around the airport, that may stop us in our tracks. We might only get to 87 or 88 or 89. But I do think it's back in the mid-80s for Saturday and Sunday when the normal high starting tomorrow is 87. So it's a stair step down for the rain chances. It goes from 60 tomorrow, 40% Thursday, 20, 10, 10. So most of the weekend is predominantly dry. I want to show you the rainfall forecast because this gives us it's guidance. Again, it's just guidance. It suggests we're going to get somewhere between an inch, maybe inch and a half on average across the board between now and Thursday. I stopped the clock at Thursday at 11 because I don't see much rain on Friday, maybe a spotty shower on Friday. So most of this is probably going to play out over the next 2 days, and that would be spread out on Thursday or Wednesday and Thursday. Now, this is a different model. This is not going to show the same amount because it's a different opinion. This shows a goose egg for Norfolk. I find that a little harder to believe given the fact that we have a trough that's draped across here. So I think these numbers might be a little bit more muted. But you know and I know it can be, as we've seen so many times in life with weather, it can be sunny on one side of the street and raining on the other. And so the models are confused. So it doesn't always necessarily give you the most accurate of depictions. Eastern Shore forecast. How about 85 in Bloxham tomorrow? 84 for Saxis. If you're in Cape Charles, 83. Exmoor, 84. And we're looking for about maybe a fewer 20% chance along the Eastern Shore. But that chance of rain goes up to 60% for Manio, 60% for Nags Head, low 80s expected there. And with a rip current low, the normal high around 87, Ocracoke about 50% chance of rain, and 60% Rodanthe and Manio also in the lower 80s. All right, it's now 8:07. Just want to recap. We show you these colors for a reason because these are the colors that the Storm Prediction Center, an agency of NOAA that based in Norman, Oklahoma, they like to govern the entire country to give us some bird's eye view of where the severe weather might be breaking out. So again, these are outlooks to help you prepare. And if there is a severe weather threat between now and tomorrow morning, it's going to be up here. It's going to be up toward Green Bay or the UP of Michigan. That would be isolated for Kalamazoo, Detroit, Chicago, and Champaign-Urbana, Illinois. Maybe an isolated storm in Fort Wayne, but not much more than that. Looks pretty quiet as we head into the rest of tomorrow morning. Although we could get some rain, we're not expecting severe storms. On Wednesday, that area moves further west. The yellow would be scattered severe storms, but Aberdeen, Rapid City, those areas could have isolated severe storms, and also in southern sections of North Dakota, but really nothing to see here on Wednesday. And last but not least, as we look at day 3, Thursday shows the best chance for severe weather is in fact around Fargo. Scattered severe storms, they could have some hail, damaging wind. Aberdeen might be isolated, and so it goes. Not much more to show you there because things look quiet back home. All right, let's get you through tonight. Clearly this is not initializing all that well. Maybe it is because the rain is drying up and we have a southwesterly wind, but this shows maybe some clouds. Would you say tonight is a good night to see a Perseid meteor shower? We do get the Perseids every August, so that's nothing new. But as far as the cloud cover, it's a little bit harder to see in some cases. Hopefully this will get through. But I want to show you, there we go, more clouds at 11. Yeah, that's pretty tough. I mean, if you get some breaks, maybe you have some in the Outer Banks, but there may be a passing shower at 5 a.m. I'll take this full screen so you can see. By 5 o'clock tomorrow morning, if you're out the door, there could be some rain already on the doorstep in North Carolina. And if you're out the door at 7 a.m., it could be raining in Duck, Nags Head, Manio, Wanchese, Roanoke Island, as well as Kill Devil Hills. But then by 10 a.m., it looks like it's gone. And then there could be another round, that's midday, another round where it's locally heavy. Maybe not far from Duck, maybe not far from the Outer Banks, or even right through maybe Newport News. We'll keep an eye on that. Exmoor might see a few passing showers as well. But boy, does it get pretty crazy right there before, say, 8 to 11. When we're live streaming tomorrow night, there's bound to be something on the radar as we head into that time frame. On Thursday morning, same situation, although I have a 40% chance, a little bit less, but some of us are going to get some passing showers right through 5 p.m. on Thursday. And when it rains, it pours. So don't let that catch you off guard. All right, Wednesday morning, that's tomorrow. I've got temperatures in the low to mid 70s to start, 72 peninsulas, 74 south side, about 73 North Carolina. If you're in Franklin, 72, 74 Elizabeth City, and 73 in Virginia Beach, and 74 in Cape Charles. Speaking of Cape Charles, that is Cape Charles's love sign. I love that. 86 south side, Peninsula is 85, and looking for a high in North Carolina of 86. And if you're in Suffolk, 86, 82 for Duck, and about 85 for Gloucester, 86 for Williamsburg, and our friends in Gatesville expect a high about 84, Corolla at 82, and Moyock about 86 degrees. So here's your first warning, WTKR News 3 7-day forecast. So you're looking at 90 on Thursday. So the hottest day that we're going to see, I think, for a while, maybe come close to it, and maybe on Monday. There's going to be some opportunities where we could come close to 90, but are we going to get 9 90-degree days? By the time we get to the 20th and 26th, it's a lot cooler. Keep in mind the normal high now, starting tomorrow, is 87. So, like I said, days are getting shorter. I think the deck is stacked against getting an abundance of 90-degree days. It's still humid. I don't mean to suggest otherwise. As long as it's humid, people are going to still think it's very much summer, because you could probably sweat without even hardly trying. You sweat profusely. But I just wanted you to see these numbers. Want to end with some happy shots, and I'm also going to cover up some other things. This is the spotlights that I did on Sunday. I'm running out of breath here. The Portsmouth is where we were. Let me go back. Yeah, I did Portsmouth. And just to give you an idea of what that looks like, I mean, I wanted to show you over here. Portsmouth is a beautiful place. It was the biggest city I've done of these 10. I've done 10 now in about 5 months' time of being here. But when you have a city that's that big, how do you capture it in 80 photos? There's going to be things I miss. So I did my best to make that work. And so if that's something that if that's something you've noticed, you say, well, you didn't cover this high school or this high school. I ran out of time because of the history that we have not only in Portsmouth, it goes back over 3 centuries. We've got 3 centuries worth of data, or 3 centuries worth of history. I'm thinking weather data. But yeah, these were some of the pictures I'm going to show you here behind me on this side. Let me come back here. I want to get to the right picture. I had some happy shots. I know they're in here. I'm going to show you. Let's see if I get back over here. Yep, come back on this one. And hopefully this will show it here. Let's see if I got, yeah, there it is. I knew it was in here. I had it in my folder. Okay, so this is from, and I'll show you this full. This is from DeCarlos Reynolds. This is the Virginia oceanfront. Since they got hammered with over 2 inches of rain today, I just wanted to lift your spirits if you are like, oh, it's always raining. It could be in a different town tomorrow. But the oceanfront sunset from DeCarlos Reynolds really kind of took my breath away. So, oh, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful picture, even though it's not totally clear. Now, this is from Mr. Wen. Shore Drive sunset, Virginia Beach, but beautiful sunset there as well. And lastly, one other happy shot is the Shore Drive sunset from Kathleen Monahan. So thank you so much, Kathleen, for sharing that beautiful picture with us as well. These pictures are great. Aren't they awesome? I think they kind of set the mood that things are going to be okay. Don't worry about what we can't control, and just know that while we do think strongly that there will be a general trend to push Erin back up to the north and move away, the question is, how close does it get? And that may be the devil's in the details. So be in the weeds. And we'll have another look at this tomorrow, as this will still not even be a major hurricane probably until Saturday or into Sunday. We're still only at Tuesday. So we've got a lot of time to go, given the fact of where we've been. All right, so just to remind you, if you've been curious about the forecast, we're going to have our best chance of rain, I think, tomorrow, 40% chance Thursday, and so on. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. What else am I missing? Oh, I mentioned the spotlights. Very excited that you're here. I don't want you to forget the free pizza that we're trying to give away. Do you know how hard it is to give away free pizza? But I don't know how to do it. Just go to WTKR.com/Marcos and enter into our drawing. It's a randomized drawing. We announce the winners on Thursdays. Not only do we give pizza certificates away, which is awesome, but we also give away for individual pizzas. Like, for example, the pizza certificate, that might be the grand prize winner for the week. But we're also giving away what I like to call the individual pizzas. So we come back and we do these, we can start giving away free pizza. So we get like 10 individual pies, and then the big grand winner gets the whole whole year. So that's kind of cool. I want you to make sure you sign up. And don't forget the deal of the week. You'll miss out. Half your bill would be come off as soon as you use the promo code WTKR50. I can't tell you the number of people have told me that's my favorite promo code. And it may be very well a popular one, even inside our building. I just will throw that out there. But very thankful for all of you. Just remember, it doesn't matter if the weather is sunny or if it's serious. Every day is a gift. Every day is a gift. So make the most of it in your neighborhood. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.